probably guide the conversation a little more today than normal because I really want to focus on a couple seminal points around where we are, what is happening today, what the action steps are around those issues, and what the go-forward plan looks like. And then I will speak to how we will monitor the go-forward plan. So at this point, I would ask President Robinson to share with us the overview of the state of affairs.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board for giving me this opportunity to share with you some of the ongoing work that we have been doing associated with these issues at Florida A&M University. First and foremost, I want you to all really understand that I remain committed to student success, first and foremost, which applies to all of our students, whether they're student athletes, members of the Marching 100, student researchers, transfer students, first-time in college students, and I'm committed to the success of our students. We also equally committed to a culture of compliance and accountability, which has facilitated our success and supported by external audits and assessments by several entities over the last few years. To maintain this forward progress, I'm also committed to properly staffing and training university personnel to provide excellent service and support to each and every one of our students. The incident of the last few days could indicate that we have some work to do. My administrative team and I spent the past several days conducting a root cause analysis of the underlying issues, as well as developing a corrective action plan. Today, I will provide an update on many of the key steps that we are taking to resolve these issues and to ensure that they do not reoccur. This morning, I will cover several short-term and long-term steps that we are taking to address these issues. Speak up a little bit. Okay. Regarding compliance in the Division of Athletics, we benchmark our peers to determine the best path forward, adopting a more effective model for the Athletics Compliance Unit in July of 2022. We'll begin providing supplemental staffing to broaden focus and monitoring, bringing the unit up to a total of 7 positions, 5 of which are new and part of a model that has been proposed previously by Ms. Calhoun and her staff. We expect all of the positions in Athletics Compliance Unit to be filled by December of this year, but we are also working on some people who will be coming in the door soon. We extended an offer to a candidate just yesterday, which was accepted with a start date of September the 19th. Currently, the Chief Compliance Officer and Ethics Officer, along with OPS staff, are assisting the Athletics Compliance Unit. And we owe a huge debt of gratitude to our external partners, including the highly reputable staff in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, or the SWAC, their compliance officers, the compliance office, and a Bond, Schoening, and King, another professional unit that has worked with us on these issues. Academic support services, we're implementing several modifications to expand and improve academic support services for our student athletes. Academic advisors and advisement is one of those cases. We have committed to increase the advisement staff by adding 2 positions and repurposing 2 existing advisors, both resulting in a total of 5 full-time advisors in athletics. The staffing changes will be completed by September 30th. We will provide enhanced training and professional development for advisors to support student athletes, ongoing evaluation of advisors against well-defined performance metrics. And we've also had some additional enhancements, including increasing the number of available tutors and expanding communication and engagement with our academic programs. Student financial support. These enhancements include providing timely financial support for summer school, which many of our athletes take advantage of, provide increased funding for summer support for lodging and meals, provide more timely communication to all student athletes about the terms and expectations for summer support so we can eliminate some of the confusion or uncertainties about what's actually going to happen and what we have capacity to provide to our students during the summer. We also implemented some additional measures to evaluate improvements and provide recurring issues. For example, the Division of Audit will advise and monitor me and my leadership team as we implement the action plan to address the issues raised. Our institutional effectiveness team will develop a set of metrics and a scorecard to provide an additional level of accountability. This will lend an effective assessment of on an ongoing basis of performance outcomes for university athletics. We're going to strengthen the culture of compliance with enhanced training, performance monitoring, and accountability services, and reassess reporting to improve communication to all stakeholders, including you, the Florida University Board of Trustees. Let me move on to housing. We had student residents in residence halls throughout the summer, and we were quite surprised to hear of the reports of pest issues in 10 of the 72 apartments in our Phase 3 facility. As University Housing began to receive complaints regarding pests, our maintenance team immediately engaged professional pest services. To help ensure the safety and well-being of students, the professionals recommended that we temporarily move all residents out of the hall, fumigate and bathe the facilities, and seal any penetrations. We promptly made logical arrangements with local commercial establishments to accommodate this move. We provided students with services such as continuous solo transportation and meal plans. Additionally, we have extra security to patrol the lodging facilities where our students were relocated. A walkthrough of the residence halls has been completed, and students will begin returning to Phase 3 today. We're providing students with information regarding what to expect upon the return and the availability of laundry services for our impacted students as well. Steps will be taken to ensure that we have regular pest inspections on a perhaps more frequent basis. Going forward, we will ensure that we do not have any cross-scheduling conflicts, and additional inspections, as I said, will also be conducted. On August the 26th of 2022, in our Pokenhorn Village residence hall, a student initiated a fire hazard which triggered the sprinkler system, causing flooding on the fourth floor of Pokenhorn Village West. The water damage impacted floors 1 through 4, and we quickly reacted by placing the impacted students in local lodging while contractors worked on cleaning and sanitizing the facility. The university promptly made lodging arrangements with local commercial establishments and provided students the opportunity to submit claim forms for property loss. Services provided included continuous shuttle transportations, meal plan, and added security. Village West residents will begin returning to the residence hall today. As of yesterday, students with travel plans for the Labor Day weekend were afforded the opportunity to drop off their personal items in assigned spaces that will be under our care. There were approximately 20 rooms with 40 students that experienced the most adverse water damage from the sprinkler system. These students were identified and allowed to make appointments to drop off their personal items beginning today. While we have worked extremely hard to make gains, I do want to emphasize that this is an ongoing and continuous process. The actions today taken are the following. The NCAA APR report released in November, I just want to share some of this with you, indicated that 13 of our 14 sports met the threshold score requirements. We developed an improvement plan submitted to the NCAA in January of 2022, performed initial review of concerns beginning in August, on August the 26th. I met personally with the team on August the 30th, and as I said, we completed a root cause analysis on the 31st and developed this action plan that I just indicated to you at this moment. So at this point, Mr. Chairman, perhaps I should pause and see if there are any questions from you and other members of the board. You're mute, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, yep, sorry, I am now unmuted. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank you and the team for that overview of the plan. and I'd like to make what I hope are really going to be closing remarks. This board takes students' concerns very seriously. We appreciate the sense of urgency that you and the team have demonstrated around these issues. We're committed to working with, as well as holding you and the leadership team accountable for addressing the concerns expressed by our students, including our student athletes. And I want to stress that we are, as a board, holding yourself and the leadership team duly accountable for making the needed changes. And I do want to state, as I believe you stated as well, Mr. President, some of these things were already in motion. Some of these things we are accelerating. So I just want to make sure we provide that appropriate context. We understand that parents and students have become very concerned. We want to make sure that the parents and students know that we hear them and we are taking the appropriate action. We take all of this feedback very seriously. And to that end, I have directed Vice President of Audit to conduct a comprehensive review of all of the issues and concerns, as well as the responses from the leadership team to each one of these issues. We will review that plan as a board. We will also review that plan with the Florida Board of Governors for complete alignment. We will monitor and continue to provide oversight without being in the way. To that end, Mr. President, I'm requiring that you and I have a weekly Thursday, 5:30 p.m. meeting every week moving forward to review action steps around this plan. This board is a board of support, but we need to be firm and direct that where we are today, we will and need to improve. We believe in this plan that you've shared. I do want to make sure that the plan has flexibility in it, such that as issues change and evolve, we're able to pivot and adjust and put more effort behind a particular initiative that may or may not need that increased level of support. Again, on behalf of the board and as board chair, we thank you and the leadership team for the development of this plan.
Thank you, sir.
I would open the floor to see if there are any comments, and I would ask that if we could, let's keep the comments specifically pointed around this issue. Or if there aren't any comments, I do have one other closing remark.
I do have a question for clarification, Chair. This is Cavazos.
Yes, Trustee Cavazos.
Yes. President Robinson, I believe my sound might have been muffled why I did not hear this, but I just need clarification. You indicated that there were going to be 7 new positions increase in the athletic department and something with compliance unit. Is it a total staff increase of 7 for both athletic and the compliance unit? And then you said you extended an offer, and I didn't hear who that went to and when that was accepted. So could you please clarify that? And then I have another question.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Cavazos. There are 2 positions that will go to athletics for advising, 2 new positions. So that'll be a total of 5 positions. 3 are already there.
Okay.
We're adding 5 new positions to the division, to the compliance office as a way of supporting the compliance person that's in the division of athletics. So there'll be a total of 7 new positions added, 2 in athletics and 5 in the staff on the staff.
Thank you.
One of those positions was just filled, or the offer was accepted yesterday.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And the other question I had, and again, it was muffled, so you might have explained it, but I did not hear it. Dealing with financial aid, and not only for the athletic department, but for students, period, within the university. How is that going to be improved, and how is that moving forward is going to meet the needs of our students in terms of receiving their financial aid on time? And again, I apologize if you said it, but I couldn't hear.
Yeah, so what I talked about was, in this particular case, when it comes to student athletes, support, financial aid support, or support in general for the summer. And we're going to do some additional things there, including providing funds to support students, whether for food or meals, whether on or off campus. The other thing, and I did discuss this with the student athletes, and that is helping everyone understand what the constraints are with the release of federal financial aid, right? We have to ensure that we don't do that prior to you, the faculty, confirming that they are in class, right? We can't do it before, right? And so athletes might get here earlier, or other students might get here earlier, but for practice or band camp and all of those things, but we can not provide those funds until we can certify that they are attending class.
Right.
So what we have to do then is make sure everybody understands that and, work with them to ensure that where there are gaps and they need support during those periods, that we find a way to help them get there. But I think there's an educational component to this. And our Division of Financial Aid, they have implemented a new system from a year ago. I think they worked out some of the learning curve associated with that. But, every student, the bulk of our students at FAMU are going to be dependent upon some form of federal financial aid, and it's something that I take, in heart because I understand what their needs are. So we're working with Dr. Hudson's financial aid team all the time on that process. But I do think the other piece is having students and their parents might understand the nuances around the distribution of financial aid, when we can do it. And in cases where students filed or pulled by the federal, the U.S. Department of Education, helping them understand that until they finish that process, we can provide them aid as well. We're working to get that done as we speak. I believe that date on Dr. Hudson is already passed, and we'll already begin to issue net checks, as we call them, to our students.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the clarity.
Thank you. I see Trustee Klatt and then Trustee DeBose. You're in the queue next.
Yes, Trustee Klatt. President Robinson, I'd like to thank you, first of all, for the detailed comments that you've listed and the way you've outlined the plan going forward, the path going forward. And I would like for you to know that as trustees, we will hold you accountable to making sure that that plan is implemented for a long-term basis, because we need sustainability here. I would also like to make a few comments, and Trustee or Chairman, I would attempt to stay within my two-minute limit here. The alumni base, and as well as the trustees, are really getting tired of hearing the cleanup work that's taking place at the university. And we need for you, President Robinson, and I want to be very clear, you as the leader, we need for you to express to your leadership team that everyone is being held accountable to manage their area and then manage up the information to you. I need to make sure that that message is very, very clear, because these issues that have happened, the 3 different issues that have happened in the last week, are all repeated items. The band, the football team, they've mentioned at several board meetings the issues. We've had follow-up emails that have said, okay, we have it, we're taking care of it. Yet here we are once again. This must be resolved for the long term. I haven't done the data, but I would conclude that there are over 50 universities in the state of Florida, thousands of universities in the country, and every year we have financial aid, we have awarding of scholarships, we have the same repeated issues. Yet for some reason, this wonderful, beloved university that is stocked with talented PhDs continues to end up in this same place. And this board wants to make sure that you as the leader understand, and your direct reports understand, that you're being held accountable. I think the chair has mentioned and outlined that we have a plan where the board will, as a collective body, be made aware of your outline that you've given to us. We have another board meeting in October where I'm sure we should get some follow-up. The outstanding positions that offers are on the table, and people are expected to be on by mid-September. I expect that we should be able to get a detailed follow-up in October. And I too would like to have a meeting with you, not this weekend. We would let the game activities take place so that the alumni base can enjoy this weekend. But I will be in Tallahassee next weekend as well. I would like to have some time to speak with you directly. I don't need to be on a reoccurring basis, but we need to have a chat. And I would like to have that. But I want to make sure that it's clear from this board that these reoccurring items must stop. There must be a system in place to address them. Your direct reports must understand that this board charges them with doing their job. And this board charges you with following up on activities and questions and comments that come into these trustee meetings. I'm not sure if we have received minutes immediately after the meeting with our action items going forward. I'm not sure if we have opened the next meeting covering the action items from the previous meeting before we get into the new meeting. So I think we need to take a look at that, Chair Lawson, to make sure that that's another procedure that takes place, because if that procedure is in place, it can enhance the university's opportunity to be excellent. And this board has charged the president that we want Florida A&M to be an academic excellence institution, which includes our student athletes. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Platt. Trustee DeBose, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Lawson. And thank you, Mr. President, for addressing these issues and with your resolution. I guess I'm on vacation, and I can tell you my email and my chat line have been blown up over the last week or so. And you did not address the ban, and maybe you're going to address that in a later statement. But there's a couple of things I'd like to say to you and to your leadership team. Obviously, we had to know there was some issues going on. I mean, we just can't, all of a sudden this thing blows up and we didn't see smoke before the fire got started. So, of our 14 plus programs that we have in the athletic area, I know we said that 13 had passed NCAA, scrutiny, and that we were on our path to resolving one additional based on what I've read. I would ask that we have an entire audit of all of our athletic programs, because if we had it here, will we have it in the basketball program? Will we have it in other areas? So we should audit all of our athletic programs to make sure all of them are covered correctly, whether it be with, advisors, whether it would be with NCAA, regulations in terms of eligibility, any of those things that cause this issue that we have right now. Let's try to get ahead of this. Let's be mindful of what just happened, and let's not let it happen again. But I do think an audit of all of our programs is in order from this. So that's the first thing. And then I was very disturbed to hear about the band situation. And, like Trustee Platt, who has an affinity to the athletic program because he came from that program, I have an affinity for the Marching 100. They and our athletic programs are the brand of this university. They, along with our academic achievements, all of them represent the brand of this university. And from what I heard of the young people being put on a bus to travel 14 hours, and then have to immediately go into practice, and then, several additional performances they had to perform, and then had not having a chance to shower, have to change on the bus, cold meals coming back, another 14-hour trip. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I mean, why are we asking our kids to do that? Why can't they stay in a hotel? Why can't they take a shower? Why can't they have a hot meal? They are the brand of the university, and we have to do something different here. And we talked about this a year ago about, we can no longer penalize them for the actions of the past, that we have a better operating procedure going on in managing the band. We have to do these kids better. We have to treat them better. They work hard, and I know that because I did it myself. And I just I think we got to find another way. If we can't afford to send them somewhere, then don't send them. But if we're going to do that, let's allow them to not have the guys and the ladies change on the same bus if in fact that did happen, not give them a hot meal, not allow them to shower and get in their dress clothes, and they have to take these long trips on a bus. That we're better than that, and I'd like to see us do better here. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee DeBose. Mr. President, would you like to address that? I know that's included in your action plan, but if you'd like to address that comment separately, I'd then like to move to closing remarks.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. At this point,
Question.
I'm sorry. I can't. Is that Trustee Washington? I'm trying to go by voice.
Sorry, I'm in the room. This is Trustee
Oh.
Washington.
Yes.
We've talked a lot about the action plan, and I commend the administration. One thing I did not hear was and maybe I missed it, was the status of the AD search while we're hiring all these people and shifting around. What's the status of the AD search? And if, we're not prepared to give a remark on that today, it needs to be brought up at our October meeting.
Yeah, if I could ask, just because I wanted to keep this specifically to the action plan, Trustee Washington, if we could hold that, and maybe you and the president have a one-on-one there in the room, or we do it at the upcoming meeting, because there are candidates out there that are still in various stages of interviewing. So I'd prefer that maybe you and the president handle that one-on-one. At this point, I'd like to bring the meeting to a close with just a simple closing remarks of a heightened level of accountability is demanded from this board. So for staff, for those below the staff, Mr. President, we support each and every one of you, but we are pushing a higher level of accountability moving forward. We will meet weekly. We will have the internal review conducted by Mr. Milishevsky and team. We will report that out to the full board with full detail. We will report that out to the Board of Governors with full detail. For those 700 plus people listening, we appreciate you being on this morning, but everyone that's listening needs to know that we are very attentive to our student needs prior, today, and moving forward. At this point, this concludes our meeting. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. There being no further business before the board, this meeting is adjourned.